Good evening, everyone, and welcome to KingPittdawg Racing. I am Kevin, and we're here again for another video here. This one's going to be exclusive pretty much to the Cup cars and the Craftsman trucks. I'm going to go over these, and we're going to build one, at least one, and then I'm going to review every one on here so everybody knows what we've got. Again, those who don't know, my name is Kevin. I run a invitation-only racing series here on Gran Turismo Sport on PlayStation 5 and 4, PlayStation Network. And we're about to kick off Season 3, coming up on March 22nd. Now, these cars that I'm going over tonight are going to be run the following weekend. Okay, so not this upcoming week, but those... Hey. Why, thank you, sir. So I'm calling these next 2 weeks coming up race weeks, and that's RACEWEEX, because I'm not getting any copyright infringements. That's why these cars are called Cup cars with a K. Hey, what's going on, Graham? So what we're doing is I'm going to review the Cup cars, and we've added 2 new cars for this year. So just a brief touch on the HECS. Originally started just to kind of fill the gaps between the missing Gran Turismo series over the holidays. We expanded it into a full invitation racing series with a spring series, a summer series, and a fall championship series. And that's going to be the format this year. We've solidified the format. We're going to be running the main race qualifying heat races on one day, and then the main race or races on another day. So gives everybody a chance. If they can't attend the event, they can get in there and be there. So basically we've used the first 2 seasons to figure out what did and didn't work. I think we've got a really good format for this, and it's going to keep the points really close. If I understand how hard it is for people to attend all these races, so I've added what I call attendance points and loyalty points. So if you miss a night of racing but manage to make the other night, either the qualifying night or the main race night, you're still going to get points for that, for attending the one part of the event. Because everything we break down into is events, and there's at least 4 races in every event, usually 6 races, and there are double events as well. So I'm trying not to get too much into the HECS. I do have a separate video on that, and I will also do another full review in another video once we get the season started. But right now, tonight, I want to concentrate on the Cup cars. And what these are is the closest thing we could do to a NASCAR-style race car, because the GT3 cars on here are not like the NASCAR race cars really that much. We tried running some races on the ovals, so I decided to create these Cup cars by taking a stock car, which we're going to do right now, and creating an actual race car out of that stock car. So there are some things, and I can see how the system, the system, they try to BOP things, but usually there's a meta car here on Gran Turismo. They don't do a very good job with their balance of performance. So we're going to work on that, and we will keep adjusting the balance of performance as we need to, because it turns out this Camaro seems to be the stronger car of our Cup cars here. So I'm going to get into that. But first, these are the eligible cars for this year. You have the M3, which we've added. This is a new car for this year, and I'll go over that build after we build the Camaro. Pretty much all the cars are the same, but there's going to be a few different things on some of these. We've also added in the RCF for this year as well. And again, these are naturally aspirated front-engine rear-drive V8 cars, and our target is between 2,775 pounds and 2,850 pounds. So roughly trying to balance them out with that and drag and things like that. So this car is going to be new, so it'll be a new learning experience, see how these do in the draft. We do have the Crown, which is a car that is actually a Japanese-only car, but was sold here as the Lexus GS 350. So this car actually has to have an engine swap in order to become a V8. So that one is very expensive to build. That's why I've added in the RCF. I know there are some people on the group here that actually have the Crown built, so they can welcome to drive those. But the RCF makes it the entry point a little easier. We've also kind of eliminated the Mustang GT in here because for some reason the BOP or the performance points in this car just are not up to what the car actually lists as. And the Camaro and Mustang have always been pretty much neck and neck with each other. So the way that the Camaro dominates is kind of like, I mean, for lack of better terms, kind of BS. But we did add the GT350R in here.
That is odd.
We did add the GT350R in here because that car is a little bit more on par. And I ran that in our last event that we had with the Cup cars, and it was decent. I was able to pass and that. So the GT350R, this car is going to be allowed a little bit more and be a little lighter. Again, this car would blow the doors off the Camaro SS in real life. Let's be realistic about it. But for some reason, they've got the Camaro boosted on here, some sort of glitch or something. So we're going to have to adjust around that. So let's go back to that Camaro and let's build that, because these are the Camaros that we've got already built. These are all cars, prototypes, and cars that I've built to race. So let's go down here. We've already gone into the Brand Central and bought the car. And this is the stock Camaro SS 2016. As you can see, it starts off with a 550.53 BP, or PP, performance points. It is a 6.2 liter, that is an LS, and then it's the 453 horse, 455 pound-feet. The vehicle weighs 3,886 pounds. Again, most important thing with these Cup cars is that they are naturally aspirated. I want them this as close to a NASCAR car as we can make it. So, let's find out what we need to do to build a Cup car. And I used to call them Coupe cars, but I'm not worried, as long as I'm spelling it different. And it's one word, Cup car, with a K. 2 Ks. Again, we're not trying to infringe on NASCAR here. I'm just trying to make cars that we can, that we can race and feel like we're running a NASCAR race to an extent. So, first step in all cars, and this goes for the HSSR cars, the Craftsman trucks, and these Cup cars. First step you need to make is go into GT Auto. And we're going to add in all the stuff we need to do the body. So the first thing we do is add this thing as a wide body. And it's $10,000. This car, I think, was like $75,000. Before I close the video down, I'll run through where you can find all these cars. So the first thing we do is wide body the car, and then I have a spec wheel because I honestly believe that this game actually does make a difference what wheels you're running. I've been experimenting with our Fugu Z cars that we're running, and it seems like my one with the BBS wheels actually is easier to drive than the other one. Maybe it's just my imagination, but I have 2 cars I do so I don't have to change oil, and they are all set exactly the same for the one make race we're running. So that's the first thing we do. Then we go over to car customization. And again, HSSR cars, I don't have a spec wheel, but these cars and the Craftsman trucks, I have a spec wheel, and is the BBS racing wheel, and it's got a red, it should be easy to find because it's got a red mark in it. Where is it at? Why am I not finding it? Oh, there it is. I missed it. I'm sitting all the way across the room here. And so what I want to do, and again, we can't necessarily do that. I want to get as close to like NASCAR spec as we can. So we want to be on 18 inches. Okay, 18 inch and wide, right? And that's the first thing you do that first because we don't want to we don't want to have that an issue with something getting screwed up there. So then we want to add NASCAR style attachments to the car. So we've got this splitter type of aerodynamic add-on in the front, type A, and I've already got this, so it's a free replacement. We want to add some aero, so we're going to add these flat style ground effects, just like look kind of like a Cup car. And then the rear, we want to add the diffuser, just like a NASCAR Cup car, so we're going to add that. And then the wing, we're going to get rid of the original, and then we're going to add the spec wing for the entire series, and that's all cars in the specs, making it as simple as possible. Medium 22 wing. That is the spec wing for all cars across the board that we put wings on. There's a few exceptions for hatchbacks and some cars that don't allow you to put this on there, but that's the spec wing, and the reason is it's got kind of some elements of everything. It's got kind of an angle, kind of flat, got the bends in it, so it's kind of a mixed wing, so that's why it works on all the cars. So that is your spec wing. So there's that. Okay, now that is all of the aerodynamic adds, and then hood pins, you can do whatever you want. I like the A-style pins. And then tow hook, you can add, I'd like to see a tow hook on them. You don't have to, but I usually like B just because it's kind of like it kind of makes the whole field look the same. It's really weird that you can't put a roll cage in this car, but this is the one car that we can't put a roll cage in, which is really odd. Other parts, again, do the lights and stuff however you want. License plate, I would recommend just the one in the rear. Keep that air opening open. It doesn't give you any caliper color until after you put the brakes on. So, so now we're done in the cosmetics. Okay, so really simple. Just go right across, start at the left, do your wheels, do your aero adds, all 4 things if you can. So now we've got basically our car built, so we're going to go into the tuning shop, and we're going to start making this thing a cup car. And it's pretty much the same, again, for all of these cars, and the HSSR cars and these cup cars. So we're going to go weight reduction stage 1 because it's a pretty heavy car to start with. Okay, we're going to go over to Club Sports and we're going to go weight reduction stage 2. And then go ahead and get your power restrictor and your ballast here. Okay. And then the next semi-racing, we're going to go and we're going to get the fully customizable computer again on all 3 cars. Or all 5 cars now. Then we're going to add in the fully customizable LSD. This one's going to be the increased body rigidity, and then weight reduction stage 3. We got to get it down underneath. That's roughly where we want it to add weight to get to spec, because this car is going to have to be heavily weighted. Again, these are naturally aspirated cars, so what we're going to do is going to come right down here to racing and add the air filter, the muffler, the exhaust manifold. Make sure you get your brake pads in this screen. We're not putting the slotted discs, okay, on this one. So brake balance controller, it was optional last year. I'm making it mandatory this year. It's 1,500 credits. If you don't want to use it, don't use it. But I want every car to have it. Fully customizable suspension, racing clutch and flywheel, fully customizable racing transmission, and then you're going to need your tires. And again, you don't have to buy hard and mediums if you don't, or I'm sorry, hard and softs if you don't want to. But mediums are the spec tire for the series, but you are allowed to change them during the race as long as you run them, the other ones, at least 1 lap. So, carbon ceramic brake kit, that is the difference between here and the HSSR cars. So, just to kind of make it so you guys understand, really the only difference between the cup car and the HSSR cars is the HSSR cars uses the fully customizable manual transmission, where the cup car here uses fully customizable racing transmission, and then the carbon ceramic brakes instead of the racing brake kit. So the HSSR cars use the racing brake kit here, either one of these. So that's the biggest difference between these cars when you're building. They're all basically the same. So now you can go in and put your, you can go back in and change your caliper color. I always do because I'm anal about the appearance of these cars. Not something you have to do, but the yellow car, we're putting some yellow brakes on it. Oh, actually, you know what? This one's got, it's got red on the interior, so we're going to go with the red ones. So that is our cup car, completely built. Now we got to go spec it out. So we're going to go back to the garage. And I've got my specs here on the cars, but the Camaro is probably going to be a little heavier at Daytona. We're going to have to do some testing and see how it works. But again, we got a couple of weeks for this race. And we'll have the qualifying heat races to set our final numbers too. Whoops, sorry guys, I went in the wrong spot.
I will run the Camaro.
All right, so now we got to set up the car settings. So what I like to do is create a duplicate cheat and just call it. I don't remember actually how I've been doing it. RacecaR Camaro. All right, so what we're gonna do when we start off here at Daytona, just so we're all on the same page, every car is gonna be set the same. We're gonna set the height 10 millimeters above. Oop, that one's already at it. Okay, we're gonna set the sway bars at 5. We're gonna set all of these springs and stuff in the middle. And shocks, everything's going to be kind of just set at a base setup here, the base setup that they give you. And again, camber, we'll have to play around with that. You don't need a lot of camber here at Daytona. In fact, you probably only want like a half a degree. If that. We probably ain't going to want any. Because the car has so much side load on it. And again, we don't want any toe, because we want this car as least amount of resistance as possible on this car when we're driving straight. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to set this thing at the max downforce. And because the Camaro has more and it's been faster, we're going to try it at the max setting just to see how that works. But ballast wise, I want the Camaro right about 2,800 and I think it was 38 pounds, right? 28, 38 or something like that. Wasn't it like 49 or something on the ballast? 28, 35. Yeah, it was 50 on the ballast, I think. Yeah. And then the ballast, we can put that toward the rear. And then the power restrictor, we're at 516. We're going to take it down to 500 on the Camaro. We're going to set the speed. Again, we're not allowing any individual gear adjustments on any of these cars, just to make it as simple as possible. So you see now we are at 718/20, which doesn't allow this car in the spec. So what we're going to do to get rid of that, we're going to put the ballast back to the middle, and that'll get us within the spec that I'm going to set the room at. So at this point, right there is your Camaro settings. And again, we'll start with we'll mess with them. But 2,837 pounds, it'd be basically 50 on the ballast and 97 on the power restrictor. That's where we'll start it at. Okay, so let me touch on the other cars here. So let's start off, let's go back to the prototype, the M3. So if we look in the settings on this car, I've not really messed around with it that much. I did put this downforce a little down. This one doesn't have a lot of front downforce, so we might have to balance these cars out. But basically, I was going to do these all at 5. So these are all set in the middle. We're going to zero this one out. And again, we can probably turn these way down for Daytona. I actually usually had a separate setting for Daytona. But you can see on the M3, I've added a lot of engine mods.
I would like to run the Camaro for sure. Been getting away from the Mustang.
Graham, I hate to tell you this, bud, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to allow you in the race, man. I know you like Daytona and I know you like to run with us, but you ruined it. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you coming on the channel and everything, but I don't want to get into anything on this. This is an instructional video, but you were the driver that got banned last year, and why I had to change my rules this year. So, so at this point, you're not eligible. Okay, and that's just that simple. So, you know, I don't know what else I can tell you, but that's all I'm going to say on that, and that's it for now. So again, people going back to the video here, the
Come on, man, you need give it another chance.
that's not no. So now we're going on to the RCF. All right, so we've got the RCF. We've allowed bore up and high compression pistons, and then these settings here. This car's got kind of a tall back end on it, so we're gonna put these all in the middle. Like I said, I want everything set right in the middle line on all these cars to get things moving here and see what happens. Again, I didn't do anything but build these cars. I did not set anything on them yet. $10-30-20. Again, we put max downforce on these. We'll just see how it works. Ballast, we'll leave it in the middle. 92 on the power restrictor on this one after our engine mods. 300 on the... we won't need brake balance on these at Daytona because we won't be using the brakes, hopefully. Except just to slow down, not to run somebody over. Alright, so there is the KupKar RCF, and I'm going to start... I'll review all these again. I'm just hitting settings right now, so people can take a look at that and see how they want to do that. So again, the GT350R, this is the one that I ran. There it is right there. And again, there's a glitch in here somewhere because this one has a higher performance points than the other one. So I know these Fords are glitched. The only thing I allowed on this one is a racing crankshaft just to get more RPMs. But again, we're 10 above, and then 5, 5. These, I think, are all set correctly. We need to get these down to 0. We don't want any toe. You want as least drag as you can on these cars when you're on the super speedways. The difference is we're going to max out the drag, which we may minimize during the racing. So, all right, so 33 on the ballast. You can put the ballast towards the back. That'll drop the wing out of the air a little bit. And then your power restrictor at 88 after your racing crankshaft. Okay, so there's your settings for your GT350R. And again, we've hit the Camaro, we've hit that. We have not hit the Crown yet. So let's go into the Crown. Now, something really important about the Crown, and I'm going to go in here and show this one from the get-go. So with this one, the Crown, the first thing you got to do is go in here and do an engine swap. And that's going to be the SC430 engine, the GT500 SC430 engine. That'll add that in there and give that the naturally aspirated V8. Okay. The problem with that and why we're limited on these cars is this engine, when you put it in there, is already modified. So you can't add a lot of stuff to it. So you do have to do the wide body add. And again, ignore that HSSR logo on there. That's what I was laying that out for Makoto to take a picture of. So, again, this car, you start off with the wide body. After the engine swap, you go in and you add those wheels again. Again, it's the BBS racing wheel. So it's pretty simple. BBS racing wheel, basically identical to the NASCAR ones, only that they show them as having 5 lugs on here when they really don't. Custom parts, front splitter, side skirt type B, which is the flat style, rear diffuser style, which is a little different than the Camaro, and then the wing, medium 22. Custom wing set, medium 22. So really simple. Racing items, again, add your stuff you want. This one, you can add a roll cage, so it's already got the roll cage in it now, because we built this car before. Again, these are expensive cars. If you're wanting to come in and try racing with us, just build an RCF. Or build a Camaro. Build a Mustang. This car is $1 million, or 1 million credits to build. And I've got 3 of them now. So that is your cosmetic on the Crown. And again, I tried to make this like the Camry as close as I could. That's in Cup in NASCAR. It looks similar. I mean, it's a Toyota, so it's got similar design cues. But again, just like all the other cars, this one needs, and you can see how they right over here. If you look right over here, 3UZFE SC430. And it is a engine swap. That's why it's highlighted green. 4.5 liters. This car is 2,804 pounds. That's the best we can do with it. 516 horse. That's the best we can do with it. And unfortunately, it doesn't allow you to add anything. So when we go through this, we do weight reduction stage 1. And you can see all this stuff is NA. Because the engine is already a fully modified engine when it goes in there. And it's 500,000 credits. Weight reduction stage 2, your power restrictor and ballast. Fully customizable computer, fully customizable LSD. Increased body rigidity. Weight reduction stage 3. And as you can see, you can buy the racing muffler. I think it's that's the one thing we can buy. But everything else is already on there because this is a motor they're pulling out of a race car and putting into this Crown. So, racing brake pads, and again, this was a mistake when I bought these. You actually buy the carbon brakes for these cars, so don't forget that. These cars brake much better than the HSSR cars. And then again, you're going to do the brake balance controller, suspension, fully customizable suspension, racing clutch and flywheel, fully customizable racing transmission, and at least your medium tires. I recommend all 3 of them. And then don't forget, again, ceramic brake kit. So that is your build on the Crown. Now, the Mustang GT350R, again, I don't know why this thing, even though all the numbers are correct, the Mustang GT350R here and this one don't match this one for the PP, even though they're set up exactly the same. So, I'm going to go into this one and show you how to build this one. There is a special thing with both the Mustangs. So, again, first step on all of these cars, no matter what you're building, wide body. Okay, you can see we already installed the wide body. Then we go into the wheels and use our BBS racing wheels, which are right here. Again, identical basically to the NASCAR wheels. That's what I'm going for. The front splitter, the side skirts that are flat, just like a NASCAR Cup car. Now this car already has a like a diffuser on the rear bumper, so it doesn't allow you to put it in there. But the custom wing, again, medium 22. And then racing items can hood pin, tow hook, roll cage. Again, this one allows a roll cage. I still flabbergasted why I can't add that in on the Camaro. And same thing with the Supra Group 4 race car. I can build a Supra for HSSR and put a roll cage in it, but I can't put the roll cage in the Group 4 race car, which doesn't have a roll cage. I don't know. There's all kinds of things. I guess they build 900 cars or whatever. So that's your GT350R. Let's go to the settings of what I'm allowing at this point. Again, the Camaro 500 and, 2837, 50 kilograms, and the Crown is 2804 and 516 horsepower. So we're going to go back into the garage and go to the settings. Oh, you know something I didn't mention to you guys with the GT350R? Let me do that first. Okay, again, weight reduction stage 1, just like the other ones. Weight reduction stage 2, power restrictor ballast. We did allow the racing crankshaft on this one to let it spin more and give you more torque. Okay, so that's what I did allow on this one. Fully customizable computer, fully customizable LSD, fully customizable manual. Whoop, that should be a... Oh, I bet you that's the difference. I never noticed that before. I bet that's the difference. See, I went through this multiple times and never found it. Well, that's why I keep reviewing these. Yep, that's the problem. Look at that. There's the difference. Now it's the same. Yay, I found the difference. See, if you review your stuff enough, you'll get it. Now, I don't want to go too much more horsepower on this car, so if we have to, we'll add balance tuning, which would allow it to rev even more. But at this point, no, because we're going to be restricting this thing too much. So at this point, we're just allowing the racing crankshaft and the air filter, muffler, and exhaust.
I like these additions.
And then the racing brake pads, again, don't do like I do and just buy the racing brake kit from Habit, because it's carbon ceramic on these. Brake balance controller, fully customizable suspension, racing clutch and flywheel, fully customizable racing transmission, racing hard, soft, and you gotta have medium tires. Medium tires are our series spec, but again, I allow you to change them during the race if you want to. But most of our races are set up as sprints. So what I've always told people is if you have a problem and get behind the field, go in and change into your soft tires, come out and try to set fast lap, and you'll get that extra bonus point. So even if you finish in the back, you're still going to get a bonus point. So if you can get that fast lap. So again, finally found the difference. Oh my gosh, I literally spent 3 hours going through those cars. Alright, so that is the GT350R prototype. And we'll go into the settings here. Alright, so again, we're going to bump these back to 5. Everything else is set in the center here. I don't know what to do with the camber. At this point, we're not going to worry about that till we open up the...
Appreciate all the info on these, King.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I want to make sure everybody knows it's actually really super simple. I mean, everything I'm trying to do is just as simple as we can possibly make it. So I think we're going to put max drag on these cars just to start off and see what that does, if that really creates more drafting. And then we'll go from there. So ballast 33 on this, and again, you can push it to the back. So this car's at 2776, and then 88 on the power restrictor after our mods. And again, no individual gear adjustments, but you can adjust the top speed. We may spec the top speed on these cars as well. But we're going to have to do some practice. So the week of the Daytona race, I'm going to make sure I get on here. We probably won't spend a lot of time on the Craftsman trucks, but I want to make sure I get on here and we get some racing done on these. We'll run some 5-lap test races and see how the cars draft. If we have weaknesses, what we can do. So we'll work on that. But I want to get this first week done and out of the way, so we can concentrate on that. That's why I went ahead with the GT2 cars and the HSSR cars that we already had established for Daytona for the 24-hour race, or 2 for 124. So that is your GT350R with the correct transmission in it. I can't believe it was the transmission the whole time. Alright, so that is it. We're really going to have to play with these cars, because this car is only a 4.2 liter even after all those mods, and it's only got 353 torque. So we may have to give this one a little bit of a weighted advantage. I don't know. We'll have to see how it does. Some of this stuff just, you wish you could... I know I can do more. I know you can get a bunch of power out of these cars. Just how much money you want to spend. But I think I added every engine mod on this thing that we had. I want to stay out of the extreme, if we can. Or the, yeah, it's the extreme, right? Or ultimate. The ultimate area, which is, I want to stay out of... Yeah, the ultimate. I want to stay out of the ultimate if we can, because I think this stuff gets expensive, because now we're talking... Yeah, and it doesn't add that much torque. 20. We may have to do that. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's still a way less than a engine swap on a... Yeah, we've added everything we can. Oh, high lift camshaft. Well, I was going for adding torque. We had plenty of horsepower. I just need more torque. So that's why I kept the high lift. And again, I don't want to turbocharge any of these cars, because the Super Cup cars are going to be supercharged or turbocharged cars, so that's where the Super Cup comes from. So I want these cars to be naturally aspirated. So, I think we've touched on those, so let's jump into our Craftsman trucks, which are a little bit of an enigma. So let's do the Raptor first, because that's the one we struggled with at Daytona, even though you would think, looking at it, it would be decent there. So all right, again, these are going to be a little bit different, but all these cars start off with a wide body. Again, we're making a race car out of a non-race car. What engine swap is this? No, that's going to be too much. So, first thing you do is put in the wide body, and then we're going to try to take the factory look away from this truck. So the first thing we're going to do is add in our racing wheels. Again, BBS racing wheels. I think we went 18 inches on these two or something. I don't remember what we went on these, but I'm going to stay out of there right now until I can verify what we got. I think they're 20s. I think we went with 20s. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 20s. So we add in the wheels, the racing wheels, and let's see if that looks the same. Yeah, that's it. It's 20 inch and then wide. Okay, we gotta get that wide. Okay. All right, so there is your basic Craftsman truck. Now it's an acronym, so it's KingPittdawg Racing Performance Special Modified Naturally Aspirated. I think that's what Craftsman. So that you notice when you do, if we look at the logo, and I'll show you that when we go elsewhere. But the front, what we want to do is we want to try to take away aero drag. So I didn't want to put the skid plate on there, so we ran this bumper, which is give us a little bit of, we want to add aero drag. I thought this would take away aero drag. This might add some aero drag. And then the side, we just basically took away put like rock guards on there. And in the rear, we just kind of took away the factory look. It's the best we can do with these trucks on here. These are off-road trucks that we're trying to make race trucks out of. And again, hood pin, tow hook, it doesn't allow you to put a roll cage in it. All this stuff. And what I did, because it looks cool, we did the rear-only license plate, and then the front grille we did. There's different lighting you can put in there, so I'll let you do whatever you want on that, because these things actually look pretty cool at night under the lights. It was actually really fun racing these things. And then caliper color, you can do whatever you want with your livery. So that's your basic build on both Craftsman trucks. And I'll go over the Tundra too, because the cosmetic stuff is kind of goofy on these. All right. Again, we're compromising on these because it's the best we can do. So again, it's basically a cup car build from here on out. So you're going to add weight reduction stage 1, weight reduction stage 2, power restrictor and ballast. Racing crankshaft on this one, fully customizable computer, fully customizable LSD, weight reduction stage 3, increased body rigidity. This one I allow it engine balance, tuning, and polish ports. This is already a bigger engine than the Toyota, so we didn't do the stroke up. Racing air filter, muffler, and exhaust. Racing brake pads, and brake balance controller, suspension. These are four-wheel drive as well, so we add the torque vectoring center diff so we can make it as rear-wheel drive as possible. Fully customizable racing trans, and then our racing tires. So, the difference between this and like a cup car, when we go to do the settings on this, is we want this sucker as low as we can get it. Nope, that's not what I want to do. We go car settings, and we want this thing sitting right on the bump stops. And then, I think, yeah, we took all of everything to the left. And we probably won't want any camber, maybe a little bit. But then I evened these out, and we did 595 on the torque differential. Computer and power restrictor at 100. And then I think we set this based on what we were trying to get. And again, some of these settings we'll set during the racing. So we'll run, again, we're going to run this for qualifying and qualifying heat race 1. And then after that, the qualifying heat race 2 and 3 will be running the Cup cars based on how we finish in qualifying heat race 1 with the invert. Again, I am not against, if we can't get the Ford to get up to speed, just running all Tundras again. So the Tundra, again, not much difference. Oh, you know what I didn't spec on here? Let me real quick jump back in the, because the weight on these is a lot different. So the Ford is at 4,142 pounds, and I think that's as low as we could get it, right? Yeah, it's as low as we can get the Ford. So we actually have to add ballast. And when we went to do the race, when they were all Tundras, we took all the ballast out of them, just because they were all the same anyway. But if we can try to get this thing to work, we'll add a bunch of ballast to the Tundra. But again, a little bit different than the Ford. Come on, get out of there. There we go. So this Tundra is a 5.7 liter to start with. So again, we're going to go over here and we're going to do a wide body, and you can see that's on the car already, or on the truck already. Just curious what the engine swap is on this. Oh, it's the same 430. This engine actually, I think, produces more power than that. So wide body, that's the first step. Again, our BBS racing wheel. And it's 20 wide. That's the winner. Okay, custom parts front. Now this one we're going to, again, we don't want to do the skid plate. We want to make it different from the factory, but so we're going to add Type A on the Tundra. And that has a light in it too, which looks really cool. And then we're just leaving the sides bare because we don't need footsteps. And then the rear, again, we're getting away from the factory style bumper and taking a minimalist approach here. So that's as close to the Ford one, I guess. I guess this probably wouldn't matter. I think this one would create less drag from a reasonable standpoint. Again, racing items, however you want to do, hood pins, light bulbs. Again, look at all the lights on these cars. These things look cool at night. Front grille, again, you can do what you want on these. It's not a big deal. Caliper color. These were fun to drive because they were like a one make by the time we did it. I'd really like to get the Ford involved, but again, I'm fine if we can't. I'm not going to spend too much time on these trucks. We're only running one race on these. So if we can't, we'll just all do Tundras. So if you don't know what you want to do and you don't want to F around with the Ford, we'll just build yourself a Tundra. Just like I just did there. And then if we do that, if we go one make and can't get the Ford up to speed, then we'll run this thing at max performance. So at this point, this is what it would be. Again, dropped all the way down. Everything minimalized. 595 on the torque vectoring diff. There's bore up, engine balance tuning, polish ports, high lift camshaft, and racing crankshaft on this engine. And that's to get us up to 521 horse. So yeah, we'll mess around with that and see what happens there. But again, we might have to add some ballast to this to match the Ford, because I think the Ford is like 4,200. So we'd have to try to match or max out the ballast on this one to try to get them to meet each other. The other thing that may make a difference, and I don't know how the physics of the game works, but this has an open bed and the Ford has a cover over it. So I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but again, we're trying to do something with a game where trucks are meant for off-road. We're trying to make race cars out of them. So again, these vehicles, the Craftsman trucks and the Cup cars, which we went over, those will be used at Daytona Oval for the race I'm running in honor of my father. The RJP Memorial 400K will be a night race. And again, that'll be Saturday night. The 30th. March 30th. Day before Easter. I don't want to keep you guys away from your families on Easter, so I'm going to keep that day clear, and we'll try to work around holidays and try to do this stuff at night if we can. I know people get busy, and again, that's why I've added these loyalty points and everything, attendance points, to try to cut the burn and missing a race out. So I think that's it. Just a quick review. Again, Camaro, we're going to have to play around with these. Again, Cup Car, HSSR, Craftsman trucks. We're basically doing everything we can to make a race car out of a stock car. So most everything, except for our transmissions, brakes, and settings, are going to be pretty much the same. We're going to start with a wide body car. We're going to add our aero stuff as much as we can to make it racy, I guess you could say. Not racy, racy. And then we're going to go in and just add the performance, try to balance them out. And again, I will touch on these. I think I'll do this tomorrow. I'm really kind of running out of energy here. And I need to get up because my pain has doubled since I started doing this. So again, those who don't know, I ended up in the ER on Wednesday, and I had a inflammation in my intestines, so now I got something else going on, and I got to get in for a procedure. But I'm okay. I'm not. It's nothing. I mean, the procedure, literally, they tried to sneak me in on Friday, but nobody was available because they said it'll take me longer to get disgowned and that than it'll take to actually do it. So we'll go over these HSSR cars. I've created a bunch of them, and then I'm thinking one of the races we're going to have is going to be a vintage race, so I've created a lot more of these older cars. So we might do a vintage race like pre-1980 cars. So that would be kind of interesting. And again, I built this one just for fun. It's not competitive at all. And it's fully maxed out there. We could build a few more cars, and in fact, I might build one live on that stream tomorrow, or one of each all-wheel drive cars, and then so on. So again, anybody has any questions, please reach out to me. If you want to join the HECS, I've got another video up on there, and I'm going to try to do a much better job than I did last year of keeping everybody up to date. I've got a pretty good system for putting this stuff out now. So hopefully I'll be able to keep things updated. I wasn't expecting this problem here, but I've been down for a week, and I'm not going to be up until probably Wednesday or Thursday of next week. So might see everybody on the racing tomorrow. I'm at least going to come in, and if I don't race, I'll stream. I don't really want to try to drive on controller because I would probably destroy somebody. So I just can't drive on controller anymore, I can't even drive on the TV anymore. I have to have the VR. I've gotten so used to it. So that's it. Again, just a quick review. We're starting off next Friday night. We'll be at Daytona, Group 2 and HSSR cars. Please let me know in the PlayStation chat which car you would prefer to drive. HSSR car and the or the GT Group 2 cars. And again, those are these three cars right here. The RCF, the GTR, and again, these are Brand Central cars. You just go to Brand Central and buy them. Oh, you know what I told you guys I would do on that Cup car too. I will do that yet. And then the NSX Concept. This one right here. Again, these are Brand Central cars. These are the... Yes, sir. My defending champion, Steve, 2023 HECS champ. So real quick, I'll just hit real quick. So the Group 2 cars, they're all Asian cars. There's no other Group 2 cars. So we're going to go over here to Toyota. I'm sorry, that's wrong. It's Lexus. The RCF. And it is this one right here. The RCF GT500 2016. 800,000 credits. Most people probably already have one of these. So the Honda. It's the, again, GT500 Concept, which is right here. NSX Concept GT 2016. Group 2. And the last car is the Nissan. And it is this specific 2016 GT500. Where's it at? The 16 GT500. This 8 is not allowed. It's the 16 GT500. That one right there. Group 2. Okay, so the Cup cars. Since we're over here, I'm just going to start here. The Lexus, you buy this RCF right there. That one right there. $95,300. Go to your wide body, add all your cosmetic stuff, then do your, or actually no, first things first. Engine swap on, nope, sorry. I'm sorry guys, I'm trying to get through this. So this is the new car for 24. Okay, the 2014. And again, this one doesn't require an engine swap. The Crown does. The Toyota Crown requires the engine swap. So that one, you go, and again, wide body first, cosmetic adds, ground effects, aero adds, all that stuff. Then you go in and do your performance stuff. Toyota, the Crown is this one right here. And again, there is also a, where the heck is it? Did I go right by it? Oh, I'm looking for a white one. So it's the Crown Athlete G here. It's a V6. Now, the V6 model, we keep the V6 engine in it for the HSSR car. So this is, you can buy the same basic car, 57.5 credits. And then the only thing different between the Cup car, literally the only thing different between the Cup car and the HSSR car is going to be the transmissions, the brakes, and the fact that you engine swap it to make it a V8 first for the Cup car. So Europe, the only one that we could find, and again, I spent a bunch of time going through every single car on here. The only front engine rear drive is the BMW, and it's the M3, and it's the V8 version, which is the 07. You can see the little hood bulge in this one. 4-liter V8, 415 horse, 285 foot-pounds. That is the only one that we can make work for the Cup car, okay? And then the obvious ones in America are going to be the Ford. And again, I wouldn't even bother with the Mustang. If you want to help us develop it, we could work. I'll give you an advantage if you want to drive the Mustang. I'll give you an advantage. So the GT350R, this one here, that's the one you buy, $75,000, or you can buy the GT at $44,000. But the GT350, it's just not enough difference to mess with the standard one. We may phase it out in 25. But it could be a fun car if you max it out for challenges. And then this is the Camaro we buy for the Camaro Cup car. So that is the quick review of your Cup cars. And then again, your Craftsman trucks start off with the Ford Raptor and the Toyota Tundra TRD Pro, both available from Brand Central. So again, tomorrow I'm going to get into the video for the HSSR cars. Again, these are cars that we can get spec to 2,800 pound minimum. I want them at 2,800 pounds. And then we want somewhere between 250 and 255 horsepower. There are a few cars we couldn't quite get into spec that we may just disallow. And I'll go over those. One of those is the Cayman. I left it aside. There, no, actually I did keep it in there. See, this one I got at 225 horse. Because the room limits is going to be 716 on the Cup cars and 616 on the HSSR cars. And you can see some of these cars are pushing the limits here, like this one here, the M303. That's a 6-cylinder car, 255 horse. 2,800 pounds. And again, all of these cars, there's a few odd ducks in here that I was racing, like the GT3 here, and that as I go through these, I'm going to open them up from oldest to newest, and then we'll go through them all. But again, basic builds are the same on all these cars. You add as much as we can. The HSSR cars, I don't have a spec wheel, but I do want wide wheels on them if you can. There's a few cars in the HSSR, as you see right here. The E-Type, the Fugu Z, these cars are already considered wide, so you can't add a wide body to them. Okay, and I think those are the only ones, if if I'm not mistaken. There's a few wing exceptions, and I'll go over those in that video. But I actually went in and put liveries with our decals on them. So if you want me to, if you decide you want to drive a car and want me to share the car, I can share it, and then you can just move the decals on it how you want. I would like to get, before the year's up, get our nameplates on there. So I may have you share your livery to me, and then I'll add in the names on the front and back glass or on the side windows. So we'll figure that out, though. I don't want to try to rush that into the... I'm more concerned about getting cars ready right now. So again, these are all the cars except for these few little exceptions. Anything that you see wide up here are our cars that I've got built. I did do one engine swap just to see how it worked, and that is the Supra right here. This is a 2J swapped one, and then this is the standard one. Now this one I couldn't get in spec, even though, and you have to start with the 19 version because it has less horsepower. So it may be the only way we can run the Supra is doing the engine swap, the 2J swap. So we'll have to decide that. I don't see any reason why we would make an exception for the Supra at 245 horse when we can do the 2J at 254 horse. So it doesn't make any sense. If we can build the same basic car with a different engine, we can do it. Otherwise, I don't want to see any engine swaps on it, and that's the reason I swapped this one, is because I couldn't get this one in the spec. So I think that's everything. Anything that's come up on the used cars I've tried to build, like this CSL. I built that one. That seems like that might be competitive. A lot of these cars are pretty balanced around right around the 600 range on the PP level. So most of them exceed it. Some of the older cars struggle a little bit because they don't have the aero. So we'll get into that tomorrow. Again, HECS starts next Friday. And I made this thing roughly an hour here for y'all. And we'll be at Daytona for race weeks. 2 weekends of racing to kick off the 2024 HECS Season 3. And again, thank you everybody who participated. Congratulations to Steve on his championship last year. Nook on his Season 1 championship. Everybody who's stuck with us. We had a bunch of issues with trying to run races last year with internet drops and things like that. So thank you everybody who participated. Anybody that wants to join us, again, reach out to me. Best way to do it right now before racing next weekend would be right here. PlayStation Network, just send me a friend request. Send me a message and then send me a friend request, and then I'll add you to our chat, and then you'll get all the specs and everything. So that's it for now. Thanks again, everybody. Don't forget you can also check out the HECS Facebook page, HECS-Holiday Exhibition Challenge Series. We will be rebranding this year to the Hobby E-Racing Challenge Series, just to make it more on the lines of what we're actually doing. So thank you all. We'll see you around. Until then, KingPittdawg out.